Good afternoon. I suppose it might be in the morning or evening, depending on what part of the world you are in. My name is Brother Moapare. Welcome to our channel. We are continuing with how to be successful and prosperous. And so the first thing that we do, we like to acknowledge the Most High God, the creator of all things. His name is Mudimu. Okay. And also acknowledge his servant, the Savior of Israel. And his name is Lentswe Lamudim, meaning the rock of our salvation, if you like. Or Lentswe Lamudim, which means the word of God. Okay, so without much further ado, let's dive into the lesson. Okay, maybe to recap on what we mentioned previously, we indicated that in order to receive, prosperity and to be successful, one needs to claim the things that are given you, because the things that you are given, those things are the things, or the things that you possess, or your gifts. Okay, whatever it is, those things will enable you to have the power. Okay, and with the power, you can then become prosperous. Okay, so we indicated about the body. We are given it the body. Okay, we are given time. You are given association. We are given as in Israel, we are promised by the Most High, as Jacob, our ancestor, was promised. Remember Jacob and Esau. Okay, so Jacob received the birthright. So, and we are given the promised land. Okay, so we need to be where we are in order that we can then become kings and queens. You cannot rule, you cannot be a king or a queen in a land of bondage. You can't. Okay. All right. So sometimes we wonder, but Abraham, our ancestor, was blessed in all things that he was doing. Isaac and Jacob, they were blessed in everything that they were doing. Okay. How come? So we are, unfolding that. We want to see why. Okay, so let me just take us to this Genesis chapter 12. Okay, so this is just what I wanted to emphasize. Even our ancestor Abraham was also blessed and prospered. Genesis chapter 12. Now the Lord had said unto Abraham, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. Okay, so Abraham departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abraham was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. Okay, so you can see here that Abraham is separating himself, okay, with who? With his kindred and from his father's house. Okay, so our association with the people, maybe it's hard because we have some memories, and you built your house in Haiti, you grew up there, and all those things. But my brother, other scriptures even support this. My sister, the Lord has been clear that, deliver thyself, okay? Deliver thyself, flee out of Babylon, okay? That we are to move away from those places. It's like me trying to, invest. I want to emphasize this again and again. Investing in property, in some work, and it is the flood is about to come, the floods of Noah. That is where you need to leave those things, those areas, and we need to get into our spiritual ark. And I'm very, very clear, and I'm very specific that the deliverance is within my borders, as 2 Ezra chapter 9 speaks about that. I think it's even verses 7 and 8. You can go and read that. Okay, so let's see a scripture here. I think this is so we get an understanding of what we are talking about. This should be Psalms. Okay. Excuse me. So Psalms chapter 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. Firstly, this verse is actually teaching us that, the place where we should be, you see, blessed is the man, blessed is the woman, okay? So this is where everybody, I haven't met anybody, a rational person who doesn't want to be blessed, who doesn't want to be successful, who doesn't want to be prosperous, okay? So the Lord, and mind you, this is the manual, the mind of the manufacturer, okay? So he's not asking for our own opinion. He's not seeking, experiences. I don't even want you to rely on me, on the arm of flesh, or maketh flesh your armor, on your pastor or on your church. No. Okay, this is what we are learning. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. That's number 1. Nor standeth in the way of sinners. Number 2. Nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Okay. So Abraham had to leave his father's household and his family there. As we read in Genesis chapter 12. Okay, so once we disassociate ourselves with, scornful people, diparo, people who are always, pulling you down, negative people who are, are really unbelievers, if you like, okay? We are standing in the way of sinners, okay? So we are doing things that sinful people are doing, okay? What do they do? I mean, you look at the 10 Commandments. All these are basing on giving. If you give your neighbor, love your neighbor like yourself. You give him clothes. You give him bread, rather than being, greedy, where we have to take away from your neighbor, steal away from your neighbor. Still your neighbor's husband or your neighbor's wife, you are stealing, okay? Selfishness, self-centeredness, that's what sinful people do. So you disassociate yourself, with that, the ideology, okay? So, excuse me, we still in the counsel of the ungodly, especially at church, especially politicians, especially pastors, especially people whom we think are celebrities or are successful in the things of the world. Okay, let's continue. But he delights, and but But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doth shall prosper. Okay, so we need to then place ourselves in a higher ground. Okay, so mentally, spiritually, we need to learn the laws. Okay, we need to study the manual, meditate. Okay, and then we are likened to like a that fruit that bringeth forth the fruit, that tree that bringeth forth its fruit, and his leaves shall not wither. Okay, so think about it. Okay, that's how success is. So my brothers and sisters, you cannot be successful if you are in England right now. You cannot be successful if you are in Asia. You cannot be successful if you are in North Africa, from Congo upwards. You can't be. I'm telling you, you cannot be successful in South America or North America. The starting point, you have to be in Southern Africa. Why? Because we are in our 42nd month, okay, and of what? Of 49 Jubilee cycles. This is now where if you have watched the Rage of Earth, channel, this is where now the perils, heat waves, the hurricanes, the tornadoes, the this is the 11th hour, if you like, or something. So those places will be what? Will be bombarded by floods time and again, as the Lord has spoken. But within my borders and within my land, there will be deliverance. Okay. Look at Joel chapter 2. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. Okay, we have already told you the name of the Lord. Mudimu, okay, shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord hath said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. Okay, I know you might be trying to pray away the perils, and you find yourself in the Caribbeans. It's not gonna happen that your prayers will be answered. Why? Because it is not in Mount Zion. Okay, it is not in Jerusalem. Okay, in fact, we know also that we are to look towards Jerusalem, that the Lord may somehow give provision for us to come into the land. Okay, so so we have said clearly again and again that the promised land, the Holy Land, is Southern Africa. Okay, and that the New Jerusalem city is South Namibia in the Kalahari Desert. Okay, so rather than just looking towards the fake maybe you're looking east, or the fake place there they call the Holy Land, and no. Okay, so it's very, very important to understand this. Okay, let me also just go back again to emphasizing what the Lord was saying, 2nd Ezra chapter 9, in case you didn't you missed out part 1. So in part 2, in part 2, this is part 2 of what we are doing. Okay, verse 7 and 8. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils. Okay, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Okay, so it's very, very clear what the Lord is saying. Okay, Okay, so let's also look at what the Lord was saying to Joshua. Okay, so we'll be looking at the Joshua chapter 1. If you recall, Joshua was like 30 years old. He was very young. He was taking over from Moses. He felt inadequate. Okay, but this is what the Lord was saying to him. Okay, this is verse 6 and 7. Be strong and of a good courage, for unto this people shall thou divide for an inheritance the land which I swear unto thy fathers to give them. Verse 7 and 8. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest. Okay, so we can see also with Joshua, he was to meditate day and night. Okay, remember Psalms chapter 1 that we read about from verses, I think it was verses starting from verse 1 as well to 3. Meditation, okay, sticking to the law, okay, and this is what the Lord was speaking about, that then we are delighting in the law, meditating day and night. Okay, it's comparing it to being like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. Okay, so this is what we are talking about, my brothers and sisters. Okay, maybe let me also check what Jeremiah, I think it's Jeremiah. Let's see, Jeremiah chapter 17. Let's look at it. Okay. Okay, let's take it from okay. So if you look at Jeremiah chapter 17, we can also see let's take it from verse 4. You can see if you are in the wrong place, you cannot prosper. Okay. Let's read verse 4 and get what we are saying. And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. So we know that the scattering happened. We are in the land of your enemies, but still you can't prosper. Okay, and if you still trust in that place and in the in the politicians and all that, you can't be blessed. Okay, and the emphasis, thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord. Okay, so what are you gonna be like outside there, in that outside Southern Africa? For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land, and not inhabited. Okay, but what is our message? We are to help you to come to Southern Africa, the promised land, so that blessed is the man, verse 7, that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope the Lord is. Okay, for he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. I remember just being in my yard, my house, and I said, okay, this is sugar beets. Let me just plant it. So I just did spread it, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained, and I mean, this is just a small. I'm in a town, not even in the fields in the village, but the sugar beets, it started coming out, and I also planted some maize. You see, so it just came out, and it was just amazing how how that was. I'm in the place of milk and honey. Okay. And okay, maybe I don't know whether I have a video, so let me just to show you some of these things. Right, this is the fruit that I was talking to you about. It's very silky and soft, like cotton. Okay, so I can probably make clothes and bedding and pillows and cushions. Wow, it's just so soft. So this is what Botswana has in store for you. Right, okay, so I don't even know what that fruit is, but that is not a cotton plant. It is actually silky. It feels like it's silky. And so here you have a lot of things like, I call it African chewing gum, Moroja. This is like truly the land of milk and honey, okay, from the floras to the roses to the, animals, the cattle, the wildlife, the zebra, we call it, they say zebra here, but you guys in some other parts they call it zebra. But yeah, so this, to be successful, you have to be in the right place, okay? And so, yeah, so I think you're getting the scriptures. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Okay. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. Okay. So that is why the scriptures keeps on telling us, to come. Gather yourself together, and gather together, O nation not desired, before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you. Seek ye the Lord, O ye meek of the earth, which hath wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness, it may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. Okay. So we need to gather, to the promised land. Okay. All right. Let me just pause here for now, so we can see the importance of this thing. So in the next session, maybe we'll discuss then that what happens now when we are here. Okay, and then we will take it from there. Okay.